Good day, kind and happy people. Today I will be taking a look at the Hongdian D1, which is a piston filling demonstrator with a skeleton overlay, if you will. Thanks, Bill. I'll take it from here, mate. Yeah, so we'll run through this, we'll run through some measurements and whatnot, and then I shall ramble on a little bit more about the pen. So, as you can see, shiny silver overlay over a clear plastic resin barrel, piston filler, and translucent, whatever you like. You can see through it, yeah? Has a nice little, it is actually a little bit nice little spring-loaded clip there. It won't pinch here to flip the end up, but it does have a little spring load there, so that's quite usable. Silver piston operating knob and Hongdian finial, a nice little bird on there, and Hongdian and some writing. Yeah. Screw cap unscrews in under one. Look at that. Let's see that. Was that on properly? Is that a fluke? Under a turn, which is quite nice, to reveal metal silver coloured section, which will be a bit of a fingerprint magnet, I'm afraid. Hongdian number 6 steel nib, a fine in this case, with some nice little design on there, and plastic feed. I'm not sure if this is a newer feed design, but seen this also on the Hongdian D5, which is a recent release. This style of feed, perhaps a touch reminiscent of a pelican feed to my eyes. Don't know, what do you think? Yeah. Now then, the metal appearance. Oh, what's going on with my words today? I need to get an AI to do this or something. Just make myself redundant. So the appearance of the metal overlay on this, unfortunately, is in fact plastic. I say unfortunately. Depends on your tastes and whatnot, but I was kind of hoping it would be metal, because you can, if you run your thumb over this, there's some sharp edges on here. Just, you know, it's obviously thin kind of cut plastic. So when holding, section's very comfortable for me, and that's a nice comfortable pen in my hand. But you can kind of feel that a little bit if, you know, just rubbing up and down there. It's a little bit sharp edged in this overlay. Now, I'm not saying you can't have sharp metal, but generally speaking, if you're going to do something like this in metal, it's going to have slightly more rounded edges, I would find. So that is something to be aware of. Is it a deal breaker for you? I don't know. Is it a deal breaker for me? It's not a deal breaker, but it does bug me. Every now and again, it's like I find this a really comfortable size in the hand, and just now and again it does bug me. I can feel it. So it does. I won't say spoil. Take the shine off, maybe. Also, if that was metal, you'd have a little bit of added weight in the barrel, which would suit my tastes, and probably sit a little bit firmer in the web of my hand there. But such is life, you know, you can't always have things live up to expectations. Shall we look at some measurements of this pen? There we go. So capped, uncapped and posted, 138, 125, 157 millimeters. Capped is 40 grams. So the pen itself, it feels reasonable in your hand, but a lot of that weight is in the cap. as you can see, 16 grams in the cap and 24 in the body. So it's not unbalanced, but if this was a metal overlay, you'd have a bit more heft in the barrel here and the pen body itself. Yeah, you've got a lot of weight in the cap here. I'm not sure if that's metal or not. I think the section might be. Difficult to tell sometimes. Anyway, barrel is pretty consistent with 12.2 just down to 11.7 there, and section 12 millimeters up here, and just tapering down before a slight flare out, pinching at 10.7 millimeters. Let's have a comparison with some other pens. So just to compare with some other pens. Excuse me, how rude. Hongdian D1, sorry, D5 is over here. D1, Asfine V126, Asfine P30, Hongdian D5, Twisby Eco, and just for some slightly bigger pens, you've got a Leonardo Momenta Zero Grande, Wingsung 699, Wingsung 630, and a Anoto Magna Classic. I'm just going to pop these two out for a second, just for a little bit of handy, obvious comparison. So the Asfine V169, these numbers, man. So this is a metal-bodied skeleton and has slightly more rounded edges in your cutouts there. So not only is that a little bit more comfortable in the hand, I find, it also adds a bit of weight into the barrel. I mean, this is a vac filler as well, so it's probably not a fair comparison. You've got that vacuum filling rod inside, which is going to add a bit of extra weight, but it just feels a little bit more solid. Just putting it out there. Because I don't actually have many overlaid pens. I mean, you can also get these in silver bodied overlay rather than just a matte black. Different options are available, gold as well, I think, and whatnot. Anyway, let's do a writing sample and see if that's any good. My usual faff around here. So, what do we have? We have a Hongdian D1 with a fine steel nib. I'm not sure if Hongdian make these themselves. Perhaps someone knows the answer to that, so let me know. They do tend to be quite distinctive, certainly with the engraving, but just the shape as well. I don't know. Ink in here is Diamine, Raspberry, Rose, which I'm becoming quite fond of. We're in the frame. Yeah. It's all right, we're all framed up. It's a frame up, Gov. Yeah, didn't do it, weren't me. Shut up. Good, yes. I find the nib a very nice writer. Well, the pen a very nice writer, but the nib is very nice. Smooth. Remember, this is a fine nib. It's actually quite wet. Let's just run through it quicker. keeps up no probs. So for wetness, it's not bad at all. Good amount of wetness there, certainly in a fine nib. For line variation, do you know what? I forgot to measure the line. I might come back to it in a second. For line variation, you can actually get it, but it's I'm not going to say it's flexy, but you've got a little bit of bounce in there. I'm not sure how much actual extra line variation it adds. I'll probably just starve the feed there. But it certainly adds bit of extra ink. It just feels a little bit bouncy. Yeah, just starved it there a little bit. So don't push too hard because it's not flexy, but it's pleasant bit of bounce in there. Reverse. Little bit scratchy, and as you can see, dries out very quickly. But pleasant nib, pleasant fine nib. Just getting a little bit of hard start skippage there, just because I've been piddling around, probably flexing it a little bit too much. But generally speaking, I find this a very pleasant nib to use, which is a little bit of a, it's not a shame, but I think I'd like the pen overall more. I'm going to keep coming back to this plastic/metal body here. Anyway, done with that, good. So what do I think of the pen? Well, pretty much what I said. I really like the I like the nib performance. I think it's very nice, smooth, fine, pretty wet nib, just with that little bit of pleasant bounce, and I've probably flexed it a bit too hard there, just trying to get some variation out of it. So let's not say variation, but it give you a little bit of extra wetness and just maybe a tiny bit of line width, but it just feels pleasant. Nice little bit of bounce. I find the section comfortable. Screw threads don't inhibit at all. They're not uncomfortable. I find that decent size in my hand, comfortable to hold. Piston works well. Obviously you can see your ink levels and a bit of slosh around in there. I will say the piston does take up a lot of the barrel, so you've only got that bit there for ink, so it's not your highest capacity in the world, so that the piston plunger goes down to well over half the barrel there, so that's worth pointing out. It's a screw cap, but it's a quick release under a turn screw cap, so handy for quick notes or whatnot, or if just excessive turns bother you. I'm going to keep coming back to this. This is a bit annoying, so it's probably reflected in the price. I picked this up for about £20 from AliExpress. They go for about 20 to 25 depending on where you get them, or whatever your international equivalent may be. So it's probably reflected in that this is plastic and not metal. However, it is a little bit annoying. I'd rather pay the extra. I don't know. I mean, the Asfine is they're generally about £40. You can probably pick them up a bit cheaper depending on where you go if you shop around. So you're talking, I don't know, say for argument's sake, you're talking an extra £10 to £15 for metal. I'd pay that, to be honest. I just find it's a little bit sharp and does rub on the web a little bit sometimes. Just spoils the feel a little bit for me. And as I say, I'd like if this was metal, it might have a little bit of added weight in the barrel there, which would suit me. Having said that, it is a very nice daily writer, and if those things don't bother you, the quality of what you have is very good. I just like to have something a little bit different, I suppose. Okay, that was the Hongdian D1. All right, Bill. Yeah. You can come back now. Do your job. Huh? No, you're not having a biscuit. Just do your job. So that was the Hongdian D1. I hope you enjoyed this, found it vaguely interesting, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take it easy. Bye.